All right, so I have a bio here. Vince Canlas is an Atlanta-based actor with decades of experience across film, television, and stage. A graduate of University of North Carolina of Asheville, Canlas began his screen career with appearances in projects like the crime drama In the Heat of the Night and even the Food Network's quirky cooking show Good Eats, establishing himself as a versatile character actor. Over the years, he built an eclectic resume from guest roles on TV series such as Drop Dead Diva to small memorable parts in major productions. He even has the unique distinction of appearing in both DC and Marvel universes, portraying a council wizard in DC's Black Adam, 2022, and a man in Van cameo in Marvel's WandaVision. Canlas' recent film credits also include the action thriller Mile 22, 2018, and the horror sequel The Exorcist Believer, 2023. That sounds interesting. Further highlighting his range. Off-screen, Canlas remains active in Atlanta's creative community, occasionally stepping onto the local stage. He was a part of the ensemble in a staged adaptation of Where the Mountain Meets the Moon. Colleagues describe him as warm and professional. He's known to lighten the mood on set, and with a spot on Christopher Walken impression, a fun testament to his love of performance. With a rich background spanning indie projects to blockbuster films, Canlas brings the enthusiasm and seasoned talent to every project he tackles.
That is a fantastic bio. How much is that going to cost me to use? Because some of those things I have forgotten. That's a great, man.
This is amazing. I mean, I've known you for a long time, and I didn't know all this stuff. That's so cool.
Yeah, I'm just getting refamiliarized.
That's awesome.
I had a pretty decent run, it seems like.
This is fantastic. What year did you first start acting, and what were those roles?
As a matter of fact, a buddy of mine who was starting at the same time I was, he was in town just this past weekend. In fact, he's not leaving till tonight. We got together yesterday, and we talked about, because he works at Georgia Pacific, at the headquarters. He doesn't live here, but he has to go there for meetings occasionally. That was where our first role was, 1985, Invasion USA, Chuck Norris. We played a terrorist, and we shot in the lobby of Georgia Pacific. It was an overnight shoot. Got assigned automatic weapons. Back then, you just give your driver's license. They go, here's your M16 with blanks. Now sit over there. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, late night, there was tanks all over Peachtree, and we invaded the Georgia Pacific building, shooting the place up. 1985.
So what was that like? What got you to that place? Because that seems like a big jump from wanting to do a thing to now you're doing the thing.
Well, that was just a fluke. We signed up. They needed some people. It was an uncredited role, but we had a lot of fun. I worked the lights in theater in high school, and I'd be on the catwalk going, those people are horrible. But I wanted to act, but they weren't ready to see an Asian in tights in Shakespeare in small town Asheville. So I thought I'd wait till I get to a larger city, Atlanta, and take some classes to see if I like it, and see if I got what it takes. And I enjoyed it, and I went into the 2-year program over there and took as many courses, and then moved thinking, okay, it's time to go to LA.
Yeah.
Me and that fellow, Pete, friend of mine, one other guy, Alan, 3 of us got in our cars, separate cars, went to Radio Shack, got the headset that had line of sight where you can communicate.
Yeah.
Pre-cell phone, of course. And we moved to Los Angeles to see if we could make it. It didn't last long for various reasons. Alan's VW 67 Beetle died on the way there in Phoenix, so we left him there, Pete and I continued, got a place in Koreatown, there off of Wilshire Boulevard, a little efficiency.
Yeah.
It's pretty dangerous there. You have to lay down suppressing fire to get to the front door. And then Pete got homesick and wanted to come back to Atlanta. I go, what about our pinky promise of,
Yeah.
trying to make it? So I was left by myself, going through my savings, didn't have a job, didn't know anybody. My former roommates here were saying, hey, this guy who's subletting your room, we don't like him. You need to do something. I go, you know what? Maybe timing's off. I'll come back. And so I worked this market, 86 until now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Same agent.
So what made you, where was the point where you said, and it sounds like in high school, you kind of made the decision, but what was the inflection point where you went, yeah, I actually want to do this in a serious capacity? I didn't want to do it as a professional. This is like, not just something I'm going to do in high school, but this is something that has value in my life.
Well, in high school, I was just saying, I think I could do it. But it's when I was at the Alliance Theater that I go, I can see doing this for a long time. I really enjoyed it. I was decent at it. And I thought, what occupation can you make use of being able to do a lot of things good? Not great, but good enough, passable enough, and that's acting. Because you're called to do all kinds of things, and the more variety of things you can do that you have in your resume, you can market yourself a little more completely.
Did you ever go through periods of stage fright?
Yes, I still do. Still do. Maybe it's not fright at this point. It's just the excitement. Yeah, you get a little nervous, dry throat, sweaty palms. But for me now, after all these years, it's more excitement and worry about don't mess it up. You got to do your best work. Don't get this in the way.
So,
Yeah.
So when you're first starting out, what do you do to prevent that from getting in the way?
Well, I took a good number of improv classes where you try not to think too much. You listen, active listening, reacting, and that gets you out of your head.
Would that be the best course of action?
Well, there's a lot of different things too. Breathing exercises,
Yeah.
and being confidently off book, meaning you're rehearsed, you're got your script memorized, because that gets in the way of your potential of tapping into your best performance.
So then, how do you even know when you have it memorized? What gives you the confidence, whatever, to go off script, to ad lib?
Well, it depends on the project how much you can ad lib.
Okay.
Usually,
Based on the director?
Director, writer, if the writer is the director, then they're putting those words in for a reason. There's nothing superfluous. So you want to make sure you hit it the way they wrote it. And
Is there a freedom in speaking someone else's words that you don't feel an emotional connection to those words, so that if the words are garbage, you don't take ownership maybe in the same way as if you were the one that invented the words?
True. There's a lot of times where I go, that's weird phrasing. I'd never say it that way. I'm not feeling it, but I'm not going to change it unless I get permission. Sometimes you can just say, hey, can I say it this way? I'm having a hard time feeling it to where I'm delivering it naturally. If they say no, then I got to find a way in my mind to what is the meaning, what is the intent of this phraseology.
You know, it's funny is because in hearing the way you're positioning that, I mean, we've been friends for a long time, and you are really good at knowing how to make suggestions that don't impinge upon another person's ego, which I'm going to guess that's probably what has to happen because if a writer feels like, oh, they read it as in their soft, then they might just not want to change it just because they don't want to change it.
Right. Yeah, I guess you got to feel the situation out.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to be so, bullish about it. If they say, well, I'm not really, no problem.
Yeah.
I'll work through it. And it's so rare that I get, it's usually corporate stuff because they're not writing for emotion. I mean, they're just the facts, ma'am.
Yeah.
So they'd have no issue if I try to make it more conversational, because that's what it's about, not just droning on. I find it challenging to make a dry corporate script more engaging. How am I going to make it sexy?
So what's the key? So let's jump forward, because the corporate scripts. So when did you start doing corporate? And I'm going to guess corporate is different than doing like indie or big budget movies. There's another category called corporate, or maybe there's more than one category. And the corporate would be like what? How's that defined generally?
Corporate industrial films, it's not a wide distribution. It's technical, usually, in nature. Companies are the ones producing it. And the writers are technical writers, and they're not used to writing scripts, really. So it's going to be super dry. So again, like I said, I find it challenging. Some people don't like to do it. They say, nah, there's too much to memorize. But what a great exercise. It exercises your memory, and it exercises your performance skills to make it engaging. Put in some nuances of, especially the role plays.
Yeah.
Hello, Jane. Good morning. You find ways to connect and make it real. Do some quirky things that make it like an Easter egg. Like, what? Why was he looking like that over? But why did he touch that piece of machinery that way? It's like he was caressing the knob.
So you're looking for extra ways to add fun, flavor, interest.
To pull that attention. If they're waning because of the verbiage, I want to make sure they're still focused somehow.
They're locked in because they're seeing more than they're seeing.
Correct.
You're telling them more.
Yeah, you might.
Is this ad-libbed? Like in the moment you're doing it?
Well, yeah, with your body language, your physicality.
Yeah.
Maybe not so much in what you're saying, because you want to get the information they want, but maybe you deliver it a certain way. Your inflection is not expected to be there, or excitement, or a sadness. Try to put a little emotion into it, so it's not so robotic as the words might convey. Just monotone, no. I feel like Christopher Walken doesn't go by the grammatical punctuations, which makes it engaging.
Yeah,
he takes out all the punctuations when he looks at script, from what I hear. So
you mentioned about memorizing. What would be, what's the secret? I have a bad memory. What's your secret for learning a script, for memorizing a script?
It depends. It differs, for people. But I've looked at different methodologies and what works for me. I always try to repetition. You look at it numerous times, depending on how much time you have, right? Like for a play, you got sometimes you just say it out loud over and over. You don't put any emotion into it, just the words.
Yeah.
So it's rolling off the tongue, not just your words, your character's words, everybody's. So you do that as many times as you are able. then you put it on its feet. You continue to repeat the words. It's all about repetition. Repeat the words while you're doing things, so you're active.
Like not even like you're washing the car, you're washing your bike, or you're doing whatever. You're just repeating those words.
Well, there's movement involved.
So is there any futility in feeling like, well, you have to memorize the words even before you get a role, and you may not get a role, so you memorize those words to no avail. Is that frustrating?
Not really. It is if you don't enjoy the process. You got to, I tell people, as an actor, I get paid to audition. That's where the work really goes in. To me, when you get a gig, that's gravy, man. You're just playing. You're there on the set. You're memorized. You're going to go have fun. But the audition, that's where you're earning the money.
So say that again. You get paid to audition.
That's, my philosophy. They're paying me to give a good audition.
And so, so how does that mindset then? I could see that be, you're putting the dollars closest to the thing that's the most challenging.
Mm-hmm.
How do you keep that frame of reference? Because you don't actually get paid for auditions, right?
You don't. But that's all part of the payday, from audition to wrapping this last final scene. That's all included. All those hours you worked, to me, that's
incredible.
Payday. Yeah.
That's so cool. So if you're able to combine, so by putting the emphasis or seeing it through that lens, it makes the one thing that's a drudgery much less of a drudgery.
Yeah, because you got to take that audition serious, because that's how you're going to get the gig, right? So you got to find a way to make it fun as well. Yeah, don't make it a drudgery, or it'll appear like a drudgery. However, nowadays, with the self-taping, things are moving a little more quickly. You don't have as much time to prepare, to memorize as well as you'd like, because you got to balance speed of uploading your audition to preparation time. So there's that happy median, because a lot of casting people like to see it as soon as possible, because they got a lot of characters to cast. So they're watching all the time. As soon as they get something, they're going to watch it. And to me, if you're late getting it in, or one of the last few, I've cast for corporate stuff, and it's exhausting watching all these actors put themselves on tape. And when you see 5 good ones that you know that can do it, you subconsciously relax and go, I already got 5 good ones. Let me just not watch as many of these people. Go, oh, no. You might go through all of them, but you're maybe not paying as much attention because you already found adequate actors.
So over the past years, while you've been doing this, how has that process of auditioning changed? And the difference between what success looked like in the beginning or years ago and now. It sounds like speed of delivery is really super important.
Yeah, especially when there was a lot of projects coming in, and the casting folks wanted to be able to get possible actors to the clients quick.
Yeah.
And then move on to the next project, or they got multiple projects. So, but back in the day, you're going to the office, waiting in a waiting room. It's in person. And we'd have to travel like to Wilmington, 7-hour drive for a 5-minute audition, drive back. That was brutal. And I remember back in the day, why can't I just send a VHS tape of myself doing this? Careful what you ask for. Now we long for face-to-face, because you get a little feedback. You see if you're hitting it right. And now it's like putting yourself on tape. You're kind of going, okay, I'm going to make this actor choice. I hope it's right. But there's no chance for redirection where the casting person might say, I like what you did, but try it with this angle.
Yeah.
Kind of miss that.
Interesting. So, yeah, it becomes much more of a crapshoot if you have to pretty much know what's in their head, the intonation, the inflection, and then be able to hit it.
Right.
That's a harder job.
Yeah. You could have done the job if you had redirection, because they're thinking, he's not able to do it this way. I don't see him being able to. Well, you'll never know.
Okay, so what were the periods of inflection points in the acting journey? And they can be both about acting or personal that related to acting, where you could have gone two different directions, and for whatever reason, you chose a certain direction. Were there various times where you either looked at giving it up, or looked at turning down a project, or looked at accepting a project that you weren't sure about? Were there various times where that's happened, and then that made, looking back on it, made a big difference?
Well, I rarely turn anything down. I just love to work. I just want to be on set, get those juices flowing. And that's why I have never joined the Screen Actors Guild. When I'm in Georgia as a right-to-work state, I won't be able to work those indie films. And I keep asking my agent, now? Shall I join now? They said, as long as you're not doing 50% SAG work, don't bother.
What's the point? Yeah.
Because you won't be able to do those indie films. And some people don't want to do the indie films. It's like, it's not worth my time. It's not paying as much as a SAG. But I just love to work. And so I rarely turn anything down. And my agent's grateful for that. And I have never, since 1986, thought, oh, I'm going to quit. It's not for me. Because I've had a great gig, a great job for 34 years as a part-timer doing corporate video, photography, live events, stuff that is creative and fulfilling, and I still get joy out of it. It allows me to travel and flexible schedule, which is gold as an actor. Many of my peers have to call in sick or get someone to cover, and the stress of that. I don't have any of that, and so I'm able to pursue it full on. Some people might say, like David Mamet would say, if you got to fall back, you're going to fall back. Maybe I'm not as hungry because I got a great gig, a part-time gig that allows me the freedom, and I got full benefits as if I were full-time. So that's why I couldn't say in LA, I could never have gotten such a sweet situation.
And you've been here for how long?
34 years, got the gold badge.
Nice, I love it.
Yes.
That's fantastic. Did you know that, was that a strategy that you consciously thought that this would give you that flexibility when you took it? Or was that something that was just a happy benefit?
Happy, serendipitous. I was doing a friend a favor because I worked in film and TV production as a way to get more acting work. I thought, hey, what if I'm behind the lens? I can just kind of say, hey, by the way, but it never worked that way. You're there, hired to do a job. You know, I'd say, hey, here's my resume. Oh, great, that's great. Can you move that light a little bit?
So you and your thinking was, hey, I'll be on set, I'll be a transition. And that did not work out, but you took the opportunity and it ended up being something better.
Yeah, because I really like production work. And TV film production is up and down, just like acting. And so a buddy of mine who was in production said, hey, you should do some corporate video, audio video, because that'll help fill in, especially in the summer when there's people on hiatus. I go, that's an excellent idea. So I worked, just like in TV film, worked from the ground up.
Yeah.
doing the manual hotel work, setting up screens, and on-the-job training of video projectors, how to tweak them and focus and line them up, and cameras. Got familiar with video cameras. And I was doing a friend a favor. He double booked himself. And one of the gigs was here at this part-time job. He said, hey, I'm double booked. I owe you if you do this 2-week kind of a boring corporate shoot. I said, all right, you owe me. And I never left.
Oh, wow.
After the 2 weeks, the guy who hired me on as a contractor said, hey, our part-time guy's leaving, our permalancer, a permanent freelancer. Do you want that position? I go, yes. I don't have to knock on doors for both production and acting. I'll have a home base. And lo and behold, they let me have the flexibility. I was a contractor for 4 years, flexible schedule, because the director at the time, his son was going to NYU in film, and he knew the pains.
Yeah.
And so he said, yeah, yes, that's fine. Just make sure our projects are covered. I said, oh, absolutely. And then when I went as a permanent employee part-timer, got grandfathered in, and in all this time, 34 years, I bet I've only missed 4 bookings.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. They were great bookings that would have had some nice residuals, which is really, as a actor who doesn't get the big roles, that's your bread and butter, the residuals, the passive income.
Explain what residuals are and how they've changed over the years, because I think they have, right?
Yeah. Residuals are when you do a union job, Screen Actor Guild covered shoot, when it gets replayed, different, TV and film is different than a commercial, but commercials get residuals too.
Oh.
Yeah, when they're not played every time, but commercials like a cycle, a 6 or 7 week cycle. If it's renewed, you get another payday. If they do print off of that commercial, or point of purchase, there's so many different things that luckily Screen Actors Guild keeps up with. It's some kind of formula, and I'm just looking in the mailbox. Oh, hello. Yeah, it's a beautiful thing.
And so there are those opportunities, you said 4 of them, that you've had to pass up because of the gig, but this gig has been the steady thing.
Yes. Yeah. I have to talk myself down and going, I get to work with Denzel. I can't do it. There's a conflict. I got to be in China or wherever, which was the case for that one Denzel thing. I booked it. They said, we're going to shoot in November. A few weeks later, they called and said, hey, we got to move your scene up to like late October. I go, I'm in China. One day before I get back, they're going to shoot. I go, what if you hold off one extra day and I'll come back early on my dime? I said, no, films are a huge ordeal. You got tons of people, you're paying for location. They're going to stop the shoot or reschedule for a day player like myself? No. But I had to bite my tongue.
Yeah.
And, I'll snort cocaine on screen on some other movie, which actually was the theme.
Really?
Oh, yeah. Can you imagine my practicing, my rehearsing with not the real deal, of course. No cocaine.
Was it flour? What do they use?
A baby powder? Yeah, that's what I heard. I don't know. I didn't get to do it. Cornmeal, maybe?
Oh, interesting.
I'm not sure, yeah.
Huh. That's interesting. Of the people you've acted with, is there one or two that stand out as being just different than the rest?
Different
Like
as
just cut differently, different than their either in the way they treated you or different in the way they interacted with the rest of the crew, or different. Like you hear stories about Keanu Reeves. Keanu Reeves, thank you. And how and don't remember a story about Tom Selleck and how he would treat people at the end of Magnum PI.
Yeah.
Are there actors like that you just go, oh, wow, that's a different human being?
Yeah. I did get to work with Cuba Gooding twice. He was very focused. There was one film I did where the casting person warned me after I booked it, hey, the director is also the writer, but he has some severe ADD, so don't get rattled. He'll, just so you know. So, okay.
And you've never met anyone with ADD.
No, not at that point. And so I went to New Orleans and we shot it, and I saw Cuba there. We were doing a scene together, and sure enough, the director said, okay, we're going to go ahead and shoot this rehearsal, see how it goes. And then we did, and then he gave me some direction. Very specific. I go, got it.
And when they give direction like that, what does that look like? Is it like from both how they do it? I mean, do they get in your face and are spitting and screaming, or do they? Is it like they're standing off the side going, "Would you mind to do left?"
Had both.
Okay.
Yeah, but this fella, he just wanted to see the rehearsal to see how I would approach it, and then he made some adjustments, like just ignore Cuba when you first go up to the bar and order a drink, because I would glance over there occasionally. I was playing some operative that was going to give some information to Cuba, but yeah, I would eyeball him for probably more than the director wanted. So, okay, he gave that direction, and I can't remember what else, some simple things. So I did it, as far as I'm concerned, exactly what he wanted.
Yeah.
But he came a little bit screamy, spitty, and I'm going, that's exactly what you said for me to do, and now you're saying you wanted me to do it differently. And I looked at Cuba to see if he would offer any, like, yeah, you did it. No, but he was focused on doing his character. He was staying in character. And I looked at the crew, and they were used to this kind of behavior. And
So
I could
you
tell.
read the room.
Yeah, I read the room. I go, okay, I'll just do it as he asked this time. And hopefully he remembers.
Yeah.
So Cuba was focused because he went through the same thing, a few takes when it was his turn to be on a close-up, but he just took it in stride. He'd do it the way the director said. The director changed what he...
It was more vehemence, it sounds like.
Yeah, well, Cuba's the star, so he's not going to be
As
speedy
vehement.
and shouty as much to him. But you just got to roll with it. You're the newbie. You're jumping on this carousel that's been turning already, this film production. Everybody knows each other. You're the new one. You just jump on there and try to hang on and give your best ride.
So how do you do that? And how do you both maintain confidence and humility? Because not to take personal umbrage, because you're doing a creative thing, you're trying your best, and then someone getting up your grill and dressing you down. So it would look like a person might either, come back at them. Now you probably wouldn't do that because you know that that'd be the last time that happened.
Yeah.
But but also not to just sort of wilt inside because, man, I put my best out there and he just stomped on it. So what gives you that ability? Because in that moment, you can't come back weak because I'm sure that's not what they would want.
No. But thankfully, that casting director warned me. So I go, if I didn't know that,
Yeah.
I might take it personal, take umbrage, go, sir, why are you disrespecting me like that? But
Yeah.
so
it was that foreknowledge
yeah,
that gave you contextualize what that person was doing.
absolutely. I didn't take it personal. I just said, okay, let's work his direction into it and just give it a different angle. You really got to have the fortitude because there's stress. There's a lot of money at stake. When they choose you, that's a big decision. Yeah, he's a minor character, but there's a lot of money. And you want to move the scene along. That's if you get cut, maybe you're not moving the scene along. It's running too long. Where can we cut? If you're not doing a good enough job, or it's not compelling enough, a lot of times it could be compelling, but the scene's not needed. I do my best work on the cutting room floor. I wish I could sweep up the cutting room floor because that demo reel would be fantastic.
So, yeah, essentially there's a push-pull between doing something and doing it with this verve, this confidence, but then also having the flexibility to redo it in a totally different way. That sort of flexibility. What is it that, speaking of flexibility, ever since I've known you, you've been in great shape. What is being in great shape who you are, or do you do that particularly to be as an actor because that's what actors got to be?
No, since early high school, I've always liked to work out. I was kind of enthralled by the film Pumping Iron with Schwarzenegger and all those bodybuilders.
Yeah.
And I was fortunate enough, my first job as a 16-year-old was to work at a Nautilus fitness center when that piece of gear first broke out with that shell cam pulley system. I worked at a gym that brand new equipment. The owner was a natural bodybuilder, Mr. Western North Carolina, Harris Turley. Shout out to Harris. He's still alive. But I got to hang out with bodybuilders because I worked there. I'd work in with them as a teenager. I wanted to get that V shape back. So it was ingrained in me already to be in shape and to stay in shape. And I got the early the good fortune to get that fundamental build early.
Yeah.
And just been able to just maintain it. And it's helped in not just in acting, but in everyday life. Being strong and fit just adds to your confidence to be able to not to just do things physically, but your posture and how clothing fits. So it kind of worked hand in hand in acting because I've gotten to do my own stunts. And if you're not in decent shape, it would have been tough. But I've been smart enough to work in flexibility type exercises.
Yeah. Do you feel like you exercise for you or you exercise for your audience?
For me. Okay, well, if I'm going to be truly honest, probably for both.
Okay.
You know, I have some vanity and I'm getting up in age, but I still want to maintain a good physique because it just cuts better with suits fit nicer.
Yeah.
And it's a confidence booster.
Looking ahead, as someone who's 37 looking into their 40s, what do you see as being?
Thank you so much. Gregg Hinthorn, everybody. Payday for Gregg.
Question. You've managed to appear in both DC and Marvel projects as Wizard Number 6 in Black Adam and with a cameo in WandaVision. What was it like stepping into these iconic worlds?
Yeah, well, I got to work with Dwayne twice. The first one was for a long-form Apple commercial. Yeah.
What product? I don't know this.
It was a phone, a version of the phone.
Cool.
Yeah. And
It's got to be Tim Cook era, I would say.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Yes, I think you're right. It was a big budget thing. It's like we were shooting a mini sci-fi film.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And that was the first time I got exposed to what he was like. He comes out of the trailer so upbeat. Hey, everybody, as if it was his first job. I go, okay, maybe he's putting it on. But I'd come busting out of the trailer like that too if I was making his bank. You know, every day, come busting out of my hovel, out of my car, even if no one's around. Hey, what's everybody doing? Because I'm doing good. But when I worked with him on the Black Adam, same demeanor. Okay, maybe he's just, why wouldn't he be happy? Beautiful wife, beautiful kids, got a nice, thick bankroll, having fun playing different roles.
Yeah.
And the jobs just keep coming. Okay, I get it. And then WandaVision, I didn't get to see Elizabeth Olsen, but Kat, who was in Two Broke Girls, who was in it, she was very nice and available, and that's the thing. You're just a day player. You come on, you're going to be gone. You can tell they've bonded amongst the regulars. That's a very coveted spot.
So, like when you join a TV show cast, they've all been working together.
Yeah.
So you're sort of the outside. You're like the new kid in school.
Oh yeah, all the time.
And
it's like, hey, how are you? What's your name?
Yeah.
And then it's forgotten.
You're not in on the in jokes. They know you're going to be gone soon.
And they're going to see, is he going to hold us up? Are we going to wrap on time? Because, you know, he might forget his lines.
So there's extra pressure.
Oh, yeah.
Interesting.
I mean, especially if it's just a one-liner and you flub a one-liner, that's the hardest part because you don't want to chew up real estate. You don't want to milk it. You just say your line, you hit your spot. Let's move along.
Most likely way to mess up a one-liner, is it in the intonation, the timing, the timbre? What is the most likely, or just get the words wrong?
You're in your head. You feel, okay, I don't mess it up. You overthink. You got to just focus on your scene partner. Know the moment, what's it about, what do you want from that scene? Focus on those fundamentals. Don't be looking at the crew eyeballing you or looking at their phone. There was one great technique that the FSU, Florida film, graduate film students. Why am I blanking? FSU is in Tallahassee, right? Florida State.
Florida State.
Film program.
Mm-hmm.
I'd go down there because you could be the lead in a production.
Yeah.
And these guys are serious. But the technique was when they say action, the whole crew would stop looking at you. They'd look at the monitor to see you. So as they don't make eye contact and pull your focus away from, oh, I love that. You could see it was like choreographed. And action, everybody just looks away. Because many a time, I can see them standing by a light stand, eyeballing me or doing something that'll distract me, and you're on a tight shot, and the slightest look over there is huge on screen. So that was a great technique I've never seen practiced in any of the sets I've been in.
I wonder why, because that seems like that would be efficacious for for all sets, really.
Well, I guess they're thinking, hey, you're a professional. You got to zone in. Are you focused? How's your training going? If you're easily distracted, oh, you're a newbie? But yeah, I feel like every time I'm on set, doesn't happen frequent enough. I still get like, get out of your head. Don't.
And what's the process of getting you out of your head?
It's a meditation in the trailer. You're in the trailer a long time. You're called in hours early.
Yeah.
You go through hair and makeup almost right off the bat. They bring your wardrobe in, and then you sit. So you can't get too relaxed. You can't get too over-rehearsed either. You're going to wear yourself out. You got to know the timing. And sometimes I've been caught off guard. So, okay, I'm just relaxed for it. Knock, knock, knock. We're ready for you. And then it's like, oh my gosh, I should have been doing my warm-ups already. Now I'm walking to set.
Is there some things you don't do, like look at TikTok, scroll on your phone? Like, is there things that are energy depleters that you don't do in that moment?
Yeah. I try to minimize the phone. I turn off any notifications that'll throw me off. I gotta just stay focused, no matter how long.
And what does stay focused mean? Does that mean picture you reciting lines, picture yourself reciting them in front of a bunch of people? The crew? Is it picturing yourself in the scene in a hypothetical way?
Yeah, because you don't always get to see the set until it's time for you to go. Ideally, they call you in for a blocking rehearsal. Then you can see, so you will review what you had thought and change how you were going to deliver your movements, how you're going to anchor certain words with a movement. Are you going to lean forward at a certain point for emphasis or lean back to show deference? You know, it depends on the furniture and what's around, what the climate. So you don't always get that luxury.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. You're coming in cold.
Yeah.
Not just cold as a new character, but cold to the set. And
like, you're having to both read the people, the room, the surroundings, what my character is going to bring into the setting. And then how much of it is matching the energy of the other people on the set with the energy that's required to properly deliver the role, and matching that equation up?
Well, what's on the set, I have to disregard.
Okay.
I have to match the scene's energy and what my scene partner's giving. Even though I think, okay, he's supposed to be mad at me.
Yeah.
But what if he holds that anger in and just tries to deliver it calmly? I can't react the same way as if he was spitty and yelly, right? If he's just, so.
That's really.
Because I don't get to rehearse the scene with somebody all the time.
Then how often do those same skills apply or are useful in interpersonal relationships?
You have to always read the room. You have to listen actively to see where someone's coming from. It comes in handy all the time.
Is there ever a place where you feel like where you've had an interpersonal conversation and you feel like, wow, I delivered the best performance of my life?
Yes. Especially when my vocabulary is on point. Sometimes I will have an out-of-body experience and say several lines in a row as if it was rehearsed comedic dialogue.
Yeah.
And then I'm congratulating myself in my mind, go, where did that come from? And I find that the more acting exercises, I find that happening more frequently because I'm speaking organically where I'm not.
Oh.
I feel the moment, I feel their energy, their excitement. I'm always trying to go for a comedic angle.
And you're good at that.
And thank you. I mean, I enjoy it, and what fuels me is the laughter or the enjoyment other people get, and that just triggers more nonsense coming from me.
So, and this is fascinating. So when you're able to both sense the vibe, deliver the lines, it sounds like it feels like you're being more authentic versus less authentic because you're able to read. I would think that if someone were to say, "Oh, he's acting," there's a bit of falseness there.
Yes.
And but what I think I hear you saying is just the opposite. Is that it's about reading the person, the energy, vibe, and being able to then connect and communicate in a far stronger way. Is that true, or did I get that wrong?
No, that's true. Because I say, the old slogan, "Never let them see you sweat." I have a similar one: never let them see you act. Yeah, you want it to be very natural, organic. That's why you have to do some really active listening, because if they deliver it a certain way and you had rehearsed it a different way, your delivery is going to seem false. Like, what? What's going on there?
Yeah.
What's that about? So, yeah, just feeling the vibe, being in the same plane, and reacting naturally to that. Because you do your best work when you're just being yourself. So you put yourself in a situation. Yeah, you and I aren't bank robbers, but what if we had to rob a bank? How would Gregg rob a bank? How would his reaction be to having a gun to someone's head if that's what it took? Yeah, I'm not going to be Keanu Reeves robbing a bank. I'm going to be Vince Canlas robbing a bank. Maybe I try to pretend I'm tougher than I am.
Oh, interesting.
I got to think about that.
You have to really know yourself at a really deep, vulnerable level.
Yes.
To then be authentic. So it's a combination of reading yourself authentically and then reading the energy or the vibe that's happening between you and the counterpart you're talking to. And then making those mesh together in such a way that you really deliver clear communication to them.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, because, and then the only juice you add to that is, how would you deliver or move, react to get them to do what you want? Because you both are trying to have a motive in this scene and how you deliver.
As an Atlanta-based actor who has been working since before Georgia's film boom, how have you seen the industry evolve over the years? What does the explosion of film and TV production in the Southeast mean for actors like yourself, and how has it impacted the roles and opportunities that you're able to pursue?
Well, yeah, back in the day, I would just get sent out for Asian roles, right? Because there wasn't a lot of production, and the diversity push wasn't around.
Yeah.
So I'd go for the ethnic roles, and but with the diversity push and the amount of productions that come into Yollywood, as Atlanta's been called.
Oh, I didn't know Yollywood. That's new.
Yollywood, yeah. Yeah. So GPT should have caught that. Anyway, it's opened up a lot of avenues. Yeah, I may get auditions that I feel I'm not right for that. They know I'm not right for that, but they're giving me the opportunity to show my stuff that I might be right for something else. So I never discount it. I used to. I go, there is no way I'm just going to phone this in. Never phone it in, because I learned my lesson from a film in 2002. I said, are you sure they're asking for me for this role? Wrong race, wrong age. I didn't phone it in, and I booked it, and I go, okay, the director had a different vision than I thought. I can't try to outguess. And so from then on, I'm not phoning anything in.
Oh, that's amazing.
Because they're asking for me to audition. So I'm going to give them the best, so they might consider me for the rest. I don't know.
And they might, so in other words, they have some idea when they ask you to audition of something about your style, something you've done. They've seen you somewhere, they saw a tape or something.
Or they might just be checking off diversity. I don't care.
Yeah.
I don't care, but they're letting me come in. So I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna have fun with it. And if I think, okay, I'm not right for it, I'll have more fun with it. I'm not going to feel any pressure to book a role that I feel that I'm a shoe-in. Because I've auditioned for many a shoe-in roles that I never get. I go, son of a gun. Maybe I was too tense. I wasn't having enough fun with it, or yeah.
So what's the biggest predicate on whether or not you're having fun with it that makes you not tense? Is there getting enough sleep the night before, exercise, just being in a good mental headspace, 3 shots of whiskey, a little morphine drip?
Yeah, well, that's a daily thing. So no, actually it's time to prepare and headspace. If I have projects in my regular gig I'm feeling that I don't get enough prep time for my audition, I fight with that. It's like, did I phone it in? Should I do it again? I don't have time. It's due tomorrow morning. They've already been looking at everyone else.
Yeah.
I gotta just let it go. I do the best I can and let it go. So yeah, there's a lot of different factors, especially now when get it in.
Yeah.
Here's another audition, get it in. And I'm thankful for it. It's something that has changed from before.
Yeah.
You're getting a lot more opportunities, but a lot more people are auditioning because self-tape, you can tape from Paris. If you're going to be able to make it for the actual shoot day, submit from Paris. That's how I booked WandaVision. I was in Paris on vacation with my son on a houseboat on the River Seine. I got this audition. We're kind of still bobbing in the wake, and my son put me on tape, and we're moving like that. I go, well, it is what it is, and I book it.
I wonder if that added to it somewhat.
I'm sorry?
What if that made it more interesting?
Maybe so. They got everyone else just, in a plain background static.
I just know with making videos, walking with a camera is way more interesting than just a static background.
Yeah, it's a different
because look. It's almost like you got real life bokeh happening.
Yeah, it's in motion, it's got energy.
Yeah.
It's not static. That reminds me of another thing I booked that I go, I'm in the middle of a corporate meeting where I have a crew of 3 cameras, shoot, lighting, and I said, hey, to a cameraman, on the next 10-minute break, let's go out to the pre-function area. Here's my phone, head and shoulders cropping. I gotta submit. I gotta get in tonight. He taped me after the meeting. I went to the hotel, did a quick edit, and did a slate on myself. I put it on the thermostat, my phone. Hey, I'm Vince Canlas, 5'9", blah, 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 blah. I go, well, good luck. Book that. the shoddiest production value, rushed, literally phoned it in.
So, it's interesting though, because, and I see this mistake happen a lot on social media, is people over-index on audio and video versus getting it done. And I've been guilty of that too.
Sure.
And it's like, as you do more, your standards raise. You think, oh, this is important. Let me get my separate microphone on so there's no wind noise. Oh, it needs a little windscreen on it too. And let's get the angle set right. And in all of that, and I feel it, is that my energy level is dissipating all those moments when I'm doing all that.
Mm-hmm.
And
there's a fine balance.
yeah.
Again, just like speed of uploading your audition to prep time, you got to balance the production value with having a good content. So, there's that saying, I don't know, I can't remember where it's from, but it's on my whiteboard. Authenticity over perfection, right?
I like that.
Perfection of production, because if your audition's weak, great lighting though, you're not going to get booked on great lighting, great audio.
That's so good, yeah.
Yeah.
On a lighter note, we heard
it was all light notes.
We've heard you do a fantastic Christopher Walken impression, and that you even got to perform it for Christopher Walken himself. How did that encounter come about with his reaction? Moreover, do you find that your ability to mimic voices or infuse humor helps you in your acting work and connecting with your fellow cast members during projects?
That's very true. But I'll be damned, it was a mistake with Japiti. I never performed it for Walken. I never met him. I'd like to. He's getting up in age. Man, I would have to mourn for a week when he goes. He is my favorite. He doesn't even have to say anything. When he walks in the room, you know someone's going to get effed up.
So what is it about his persona that makes that true?
Because you don't know what's going to happen. He keeps you on edge, and you know he's going to excite you or confuse you.
Is it an aloofness? Is it a sense of approachability? And did he have that when he was first starting out? Like, there's an aura that precedes some people only because of the reputation. But I've also met people that had an aura that I didn't even understand who they were.
Mm-hmm.
They just carried themselves.
Yeah. Well, Walken, he's been around so long.
Yeah.
So that reputation was built as a young dancer, singer, triple threat. And then, he was a great actor. And it was not aloofness, his intensity.
Yeah.
And danger. He's kind of dangerous, even when he's trying to be nice and funny. Case in point, Wedding Crashers. But yes, just who else besides him? Nicholson. They have this big characteristics that's easy to impersonate because it is so recognizable.
I remember one time you said a long time ago to me that, I think you said this, it was that there's just a big difference between main characters and everyone else. Like, they have a different sense, and you don't have very many people that go back and forth, between, say, a Keanu or a Jack Nicholson and there are a few great names that were able to do it, but like Denzel doesn't do, I don't think I've ever seen him in a bit part. I guess he would have had to have done them in the beginning.
Yeah.
What's the difference there?
Well, you get a leading man role.
Yeah.
That's where you can pretty much just be yourself. Like Tom Cruise is Tom Cruise in Mission Impossible, in Top Gun. He's playing himself in those different situations. Unlike character actors who chameleon-like can do different.
But do you think that ultimately Tom Cruise is Tom Cruise leading man because Tom Cruise has the confidence or whatever it is to always be Tom Cruise, come hell or high water?
Yeah.
And so he's like, if I get a role, I'm going to be myself. If I don't get the role, I'll be myself. Versus there's no sense of bending.
Yeah.
Well, or is it something different than that?
He's got that it. He had the it factor.
Well,
right?
so what is the it?
The confidence,
Swagger.
charm, swagger.
What does charm mean?
You are pulled in. Men, women, kids, you're pulled in. Their persona is infectious. Is what I'm thinking, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. As opposed to a character actor, and my favorite anecdote is Andrew Robinson. He played the psycho in Dirty Harry. You feeling lucky, punk? The guy that was on the pier. You know, he was a character actor. He could have been a leading man. He had good looks. He was on soap opera before that role, but he did such a good job as that character of the psycho. He didn't get back on that soap opera. He wanted to, and then he kind of had a glut. He couldn't get acting roles because he did such a good job as a wacko. And yeah, my former coworker John Doran, who used to work here, did summer stock with him, so he stayed in touch. Mm-hmm. And he had told me that Andrew was just beside himself, could not get out of that character's shadow.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Was that because, though, he couldn't get out of the character's shadow because he really was that character at some level?
According to his buddy John, no, he had range.
But was it the money then? In other words, this was a very lucrative and easier path because it was fulfilling a need. So it was easier to stick with it, or was there another reason?
I think he didn't realize it was going to be a stigma to his career. He liked the role. I'm going to be with Clint Eastwood. Yeah, it's just a co-star role, but he got pigeonholed.
I wonder if there's a Tom Cruise movie or a Denzel movie where before they became the name that they are, that they had that potential to become a character actor.
Maybe The Outsiders, because Cruise, yeah, I feel like that was there might be some film I'm missing, but I felt like he was not like his usual Tom Cruise self there.
Was that from the S.E. Hinton book, Outsiders? Or is it different?
That sounds familiar. Pony Boy. Ralph Macchio. It's Pony Boy, yeah.
Oh, interesting.
That was quite the springboard for a lot of those actors.
That was a group. Yeah, that was a group. That was a book we read in junior high.
Yeah, yeah.
All right. So, can you give us a couple of Christopher Walken lines?
Yeah. The go-to is, I'll be damned. I know you're looking at me like the face doesn't match the voice. Be saying words I might have to whisper. Yeah, I was blessed. An actress friend of mine from many years ago, that was, we were on the first job that she's ever had. It was a corporate gig. We got to know each other. Then one day she said, "You know who you sound like?" I go, Christopher Walken. I go, "What?" So back then, well, we still had the answering machines with a mini tape.
Yeah.
I went home and recorded myself. Wow, wow, wee, wow. I do sound like him. And so and they say, people who didn't know me will say, your pacing of your delivery sounds like a Walken. And I can hear a little intonation that sounds like Walken.
It's a different, yeah, it totally does.
And got so much so that some people will, I have it in my resume, buried Christopher Walken voice. And that way I can tell if the producer reads all the way down.
Oh, I love it.
And like at a Home Depot shoot, okay, we're going to do this one as Walken. Yeah. Your leaf blowers, yeah. Yeah. 5 amp batteries, more than sufficient. Yeah.
This is awesome.
Yeah. So
I love it.
it's a fun thing. People know about it, and it allows me to engage. And yeah, we just have fun with it. They have fun with it. They say, "Hey, can you do my voicemail for us Walken?" Gregg's not here right now. He's over medicated. Morphine. Yeah.
It's fun. I've known you for a long time. I did not know all of this. And this is fabulous. Thanks